Welcome back to the BHS Studios podcast. You're joined here with Ari Begbie and
Maximus Lawrence.
here to discuss all sorts of fun things. I'll pass it back to Max to introduce our subject matter for the week.
This week we're going to be talking about some philosophical hypotheticals, just for funsies, while we fill the time for me to read the book for next podcast.
Very, very exciting stuff. I'll kick it off to you, Max, with the first one of our extensive list that we have prepared.
Well, I think we should start it off with the most iconic of all, the trolley problem.
Interesting.
Well, with the original, we have a scenario where you have a trolley going down the tracks and you have a lever that you can pull. The trolley is going to kill 5 people, but if you pull the lever, it will only kill 1. Would you pull the lever?
In the default trolley problem, with no added context, I think the majority of people would say they would pull the lever. I'm not sure where to go from here, other than the most utilitarian. But I do realize that as you start getting into the deeper examples of, do you have to push the fat man, or do you have to, those things start getting a little dicier. But for now, I'll just stick to pulling the lever.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I don't think I'd pull the lever. I think in general, when you're making that kind of decision, right, you're kind of just condemning this one guy to die.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like an active choice.
That is true.
I believe it's kind of like an ontological argument where an ontologist is someone who values people's rights, right? And by making that active decision from pulling the lever, you actively become evil because you just infringed on that one person's rights to live. Whereas in the first scenario, initially, you aren't technically evil. It's whoever set up this whole scenario that is evil. So by not doing anything, you're letting the trolley kill 5 people, but you haven't actually infringed any rights. So in a way, you're like a good guy.
That's interesting. I completely see where you're coming from. Are you of the mind that the context surrounding the event doesn't actually matter a whole lot? You're more attacking it from as you said, ontological perspective, I guess.
The context would be significant, but I don't know. I think it's difficult to say that I'm going to kill this guy. Because in that case, let's say you do pull the lever to kill this one guy. What about another scenario, okay? Another scenario where instead of having a trolley going to kill 5 people, we have 5 people who are sick. 5 people who are sick, and you have one healthy person who you can transplant the organs from to all these 5 sick people to keep them alive and kill the one guy.
That is true. I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone who would agree with the perspective of killing this dude. But I think the difference in what feels like the difference, what is it? I suppose it's the state they're in prior to the event. Like with the trolley problem, it doesn't seem like the people are in... I guess they are in peril. Yeah, I do see that. There's something about it that feels different to the layman who has not thought about it a whole lot, I suppose.
I feel as to say it's just the action is quite a bit more visceral. It's kind of like the fat man problem, right? Where supplementing, instead of having to pull a lever to push somebody, like one really large individual onto the tracks to stop the trolley, actually causes the kind of answers to switch the majority for the answers for the trolley problem. The majority of people wouldn't push somebody to save 5 people.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think that change in opinion is a lapse in someone's philosophical backing of their own belief of the answer to the first trolley problem? Or do you think it's
Um,
more? It's more just. I'll let you go.
well, I mean, in a way, right? It's just like rationalization. Like if you think about it, you if you're just deciding to pull a lever or not, it's pretty easy in the moment, and you
Mm.
don't really have much of an attachment to the situation. Whereas in the other situation, you're pushing a guy directly, a lot more visceral. Now,
Mm.
to say that it's wrong to hold both opinions at once, I think it's difficult because
Mm.
partially, I think it's a pretty popular view that a lot of morals we decide by just our emotional response to a situation, right? So we feel that it's wrong to kill someone, we feel that it's wrong to steal. So in a way, if your morals are defined in that way, which I mean not everybody agrees with, but that means in a way you have this trolley problem where you don't feel that bad pulling the lever, or you have the trolley problem where you push someone and you feel really bad about that. um, while rationally inconsistent, it's it's just a matter of how you feel about it, right? It's not about you deciding on some grandiose moral framework of like logical judgments. It's more so about how you feel about that specific situation. You could say that if you truly believe that your entire morality comes from emotions, right?
Fair
So in a
enough.
way, it's not rational because your morality isn't built upon rigid rules to start with, but just how you feel towards any one situation, right?
What
You could say that.
what percentage? What percentage of people? I mean, because it is a very very large percentage of people that would have most of their morals built from this emotional response. Um, that is derived from their environment and from their peers and from their cultural taboos. Do you think it is? How important is it for one's? Maybe this is getting way too abstract, but how important do you think it is for one's self actualization to figure out what their own morals are, separate from these whims of emotion? I suppose.
I mean, well, frankly, I think that's impossible because you're kind of defined by your environment and kind of like your predispositions. I don't think it's possible to really get away from that. I mean, you could try, but I think in general, I think rationalization is probably not the end all or be all, but I think a certain level of rationality is important. I think it's probably bad to have your entire moral framework built upon how you feel without any rationalization. Because in that case, um, like it's quite difficult to really understand your position. And I don't know. I think there are certain things that I think it's better to define your moral framework based on how you feel about very fundamental things like killing someone, right? Rather than adjusting it to every single situation. I think that's
Hmm,
probably better. Yeah,
that's fair enough.
but I'm not sure.
Something to ponder.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you want to move on to the next one?
All right. What about this one? What about if you have uh, one person tied on the train tracks and another person tied on the other set of train tracks, but the trolley is heading towards the rich man tied on the rail tracks, and he offers you $1 million to pull the lever. Would you pull the
Interesting.
lever? You're killing the same amount of people.
That is true. Um, it does feel like the same amount of people, but I guess if you were to put it into terms, into the similar of the hospital terms, where you have to like stab the other guy to death for $1 million. I realize I'm just applying the logic that you provided me previously to solve this one, but
Well,
the,
it's not particularly the same because you can't just say, "Oh, stab a guy to death for $1 million." It's like,
otherwise I'm gonna get stabbed by
well,
someone.
you're not gonna get stabbed. Actually,
No. Sorry,
it's
sorry. The rich guy. Imagine you're in this gang scenario where they say like this rich guy is going to get stabbed to death if you don't stab this guy to death. And if you do, then you get $1 million.
Yeah.
In that scenario, probably would not. Yes, I would not, because I do not want to be that. Literally a killer. And eat the rich, Max. The Richie's gotta die.
Very true.
They deserve it.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is an interesting one. And what would your answer be?
I mean, I wouldn't pull the lever in the first place, even for the basic trolley problem.
Yeah, that's true.
So in this case, almost certainly not.
What if it was 2 million?
Well, I'll have a little ponder.
Yeah. Give it a think over.
I mean, you could hypothetically say maybe it's morally important.
Is there a scenario in which you would pull the lever? Like if there were 1,000
to kill
people,
someone,
1,000 people on the other track. 1,000 to 1.
Yeah, I mean it's a difficult situation. What if you have like 1 million people to 1?
Yeah, we can keep cranking these numbers up.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
What's the breaking point for you, Max? Because surely you would pull the lever for 1 million to 1.
It's hard to say. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think my innate moral intuition is to say yes, but
yeah.
The rational conclusion, I don't know if it's there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I mean, we've sort of done that with This is maybe way too tangential, but with cases of like terrorist hostages, where we decide to forego the interests of our nation because no soldier left behind and all that, or we don't trade lives for hostages, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of true. I think also, in a way, what if you were to reframe it as in like you have one person who would be killed in like an experiment to create a vaccine that could save like millions of people? I don't know. I think
bit lost of us.
Maybe I would kill one person to save like millions and millions of people. Yeah.
That is interesting.
So I guess it is kind of like a matter of like a number, right?
Yeah. Eventually, I mean, you just keep pushing it.
Because let's say they killed just like 99% of all people. I think I would say almost certainly that I would kill one guy.
Yeah. Right.
But
so at what point in your mind do you think that the personal sanctity for your right to life outweigh the number of people on the other side of that track?
I think it's probably about a 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah, I think once it crosses that boundary, there.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's what's it called? I forgot what it's called, but it's like the problem of being rich. Like, let's say $1 million you would consider rich.
Yeah.
Well, what about like?
No, I realize. Yeah, I realize. Yeah. Like those aren't that interesting a question.
Yeah, the specific boundary. I don't know what
specific boundary is.
Point to.
Not as. But do you think there's? Yeah. I just wonder if there's a size of people in our civilian mind, like you had in mind, like a block worth of people, or maybe a small a rural town, or a city worth of people, or something like that, rather than a specific number.
Let's say like 100 people.
100.
That's quite a few people.
That's quite a few people. That is interesting. Very interesting. So I guess even if it's not ontologically sound, that is an irrational decision by your own metric, right?
Well, it's not logically consistent with my other position in a way. But maybe in my mind, it's a matter of, um, it's just a matter of like moral points. Like I have a certain value placed onto, you know, transgressing someone's rights,
True.
and
Do you-
then that value is more than like a human life. It's like multiple human lives.
Yeah.
Which that's interesting. That's an interesting thought.
Do you think that the people on the other side of the coin, I mean, I think they're just in the same position. If you ask them, would you pull the lever? And they say, like, of course I would. And then you're like, would you harvest a man's organs for the life of 5 others? And they say, no, they wouldn't. Maybe they are all, I mean, they clearly are also giving an amount of points, both to the amount of lives in question, but also the action one has to take through this hypothetical, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess yeah, it would be like a set of moral points of how involved they are in this scenario. But in a way, it's just a matter of like, what's the cost to me
Yeah.
of like,
What can you stomach? Can you stomach
yeah,
killing 5 people, or letting 5 people die, I should say, instead of killing one on the train tracks? Whereas in the hospital scenario, you're probably going to need to save. The average person probably needs to save at least 100 to like be the person to kill that one individual. You know what I mean?
Okay, what about an interesting new hypothetical?
Yeah.
Let's say we have, you have to stab one guy to death
Yeah.
to keep 5 people alive.
Yeah.
But if you choose to not stab that one guy to death,
Yeah.
you experience stabbing the guy to death, but you don't actually do it.
Oh, interesting.
Like you just put it into like
that's
an experience machine.
That's weird.
Like would you do that? I don't know.
So you have to. Do you know it's an experience machine?
No, you know that it's not real.
You know it's not real,
Yeah.
but you go through the visceral feeling of that experience.
Yeah.
What happens to the 5 people if you don't? They die.
Well, no, you always undergo the experience. In one case, it's real. In one case, it's not.
Wait. No. This is still a trolley problem, right? It's you have to stab this one guy so that the 5 people don't die. And if you do stab him, then he does actually die and the 5 people live, or the 5 people die and you go through the experience machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. I understand.
Well, in both cases, you experience it.
In
Because
both
in one
cases,
case, it's just real.
Yeah, in both cases, you experience stabbing the guy. That is a weird question because now I'm leaning. Yeah, that is strange. What would you say to that?
I would say I wouldn't kill the guy. I wouldn't stab the guy. I would go through the experience, killing 5 people.
Wait, the experience. The experience machine shows you stabbing the one dude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going through. You're letting the 5 die, and you're going through the experience machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, in my mind, afterwards, I know it's not real.
Yeah, it's true. What about an experience machine where you think it was real? Or does this sort of break the experiment?
Well, if the experience in the moment, you can say that it's real. But let's say afterwards, you don't think it's real. Then I think at that point, there's no reason not to pick just killing one guy.
Really?
Like if your entire life you genuinely experience that it was real, then there's no real difference.
Right, on your morals.
Yeah.
Because it's coming from your perspective. Yeah, no, that's...
Well, to you, it's just real.
Yeah, to you, it's just real. To you, it did happen. But I don't know. That raises an interesting question, though. What about your morals prior to making the decision? This version of you that has ceased to exist before you really experienced stabbing this guy to death has made the correct moral choice by letting your future self believe that they really stabbed this guy to death. But you won't know it. This future self of yours who thinks they stabbed this guy to death won't know.
No, but you do stab this guy to death. Because in this case, you have to pick the killing the one guy, right? You're actually killing the guy.
No. Sorry. In this hypothetical, it's either the 5 people die, and you think that you killed the one guy, or you actually kill the one guy, and then the 5 people don't die.
Yeah, well then the correct thing is to stab the guy and you kill the guy, like for real, right?
But in the first one, the guy doesn't actually die.
Sure, but you kill 5 people. Like you
let
5 people die.
Yeah, you let 5 people die.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let 5 people die. I'm gonna kill the one guy because from my perspective, I killed one guy in both situations.
Yeah.
But 5 people survive.
But is it?
But I'm making the correct moral judgment from now as well. Like
you're making the correct from now as well. I thought that
because there's no cost to myself in the future, right? Both situations are equal. Why would they not be equal?
So you're talking about after the fact, after this event has happened, if you remembered the event and you remembered that it was an experience machine, the time that you fake stabbed this guy, then you'd take the fake memory, right? This might be getting a bit confusing. Okay, so we're jumping back one hypothetical to the one where you said you can either choose to really stab the guy to death or fake stab him to death, and then after the fact you remember that it was a fake stabbing and you didn't. Yeah. You went through. You take the fake stabbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying nothing about this scenario changes except your memory of the fact. Why?
But I believe the significant difference is I believe that myself in the future is me, right?
Yeah.
For a short period of time, I will believe that I've stabbed this guy, but it's a short period of time.
Yeah.
In the future, I will still be me, myself.
Yeah.
And I will realize the truth, and I'm not transgressing anyone's rights.
Okay, so the idea of the memory of transgressing someone's rights, that disturbs you because that's a future you sacrifice that you don't want to experience.
No, the thing that disturbs me is living the experience forever, like permanently changing myself to have transgressed someone's rights. I can undergo like a temporary change.
Yeah. I guess the point I'm just trying to get at is there any merit to be said that the moral position from before the event is to not take that decision of stabbing this guy to death for real, and then accept the fact that in the future you're going to have to cope with the fact that you think that you've transgressed someone's rights?
I just don't really see the difference. So you thinking that you did it and you doing it, like that's kind of your lived reality for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah, but it is your lived reality for the rest of your life. But I guess I'm just trying to ask, is there a question? Is there moral merit in doing the right thing in the past, even if you don't know that you're going to do the right thing in the future? Like say you were like blackout wasted, and you know you're not going to remember this night the next morning, or you know that you're not going to remember this stretch of time. Is doing in the moment the right thing, even though you know it won't have any ramifications on your future life? I'm struggling to think of an example.
In the moment it's important, yeah.
Yeah, so prior to this scenario, making the decision, I guess it's the blackout drunk one's not great here. I guess the example that it would have to be, okay, this is getting a bit convoluted, but if you were blackout and you know that the thing you're about to do is going to be misconstrued by a future you as the wrong thing, would you then do the right thing in the moment? And in my mind, from your philosophical perspective, in the moment, the right thing to do is to accept the fact that you're going to think you stabbed this guy to death. Does that make sense? If not, we can move on. That's okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. So effectively, in the moment, is it correct to do the right thing that's going to be misconstrued to be the wrong thing?
Yeah.
That's an interesting question. Well, I think it's difficult to say because I'd need the reason for why it's misconstrued. What if, let's say, I believe myself in the future to be better morally equipped? Then
Okay.
I think it's incorrect to do the thing that I believe to be right in the moment. And that's why in the future I'll misconstrue it. But let's say I'll be under the veil of ignorance. Well, not
Yeah.
okay, that's a different thing. But I will be ignorant in the future of the truth. Then I'm not sure.
Because in this scenario, you do have to live with the idea that you've made the wrong decision.
Well, it's not entirely wrong because you see, kind of the alternative in this situation is fake stabbing someone and then 5 people dying,
Yeah.
right? Which is also a morally extremely abhorrent, like, negative outcome. Whereas doing something in the moment that you believe in the future will be misconstrued as wrong implies that you're doing something that's you're just straight up doing something that's right and like dramatic benefit, as opposed to nothing or something bad. So I'm not sure. I guess like with the stabbing example, it's just 2 really, really bad things weighed against each other. In this case, I think you'd need to present something that's kind of like of equal weight. But I don't know, maybe not. I don't know if it's entirely rational, but I think that's why I would have this judgment.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's been a
that's
a long time on this one. Hypothetical experience machine stabbing.
I enjoyed it. I did not think that's an interesting variation on the trolley problem that I haven't heard yet. So
No, I haven't heard it either. I just made that up.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Very.
Okay. Let's say there's a trolley problem again, but there's 5 people on the track and 5 people on the other track. But you're not the one pulling the lever. You see another person pull the lever. Would you judge this person for pulling the lever?
I thought you were gonna ask if like if you're supposed to pull it again to make it go back. I think 5 people. There are 2 identical tracks of people. You see somebody pull the lever. I think it comes back to this idea of moral points or moral weight we apply to both the experience and the, I guess we'll call it, value of the people, of the 2 outcomes. And I think all else equal, you pulling the lever with 5 people on each side, I'm just gonna judge you. I'm like, what the heck, man?
Okay, so you think that's wrong. So would you walk up and pull it back?
Okay, there it is. Right? There it is. No, I'm not gonna pull it back. I'm judging.
But it was wrong.
I'm judging them for doing the action in the first place, not the literal outcome of the event. I'm judging them for making the decision in the first place.
Okay. So it is a matter of transgressing their rights.
Of the people on the other track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm coming from. Because it's just like, why would you involve yourself in this scenario? like, come on, man.
Okay.
How about you?
Um, I would judge someone for pulling the lever. I think
Yeah.
that's really strange.
Yeah, I agree. I super agree.
Yeah.
The idea of pulling it back is funny though. Maybe for the bit I would. I'm not sure.
Like one of the kids tied to the track, their mother is watching them, and she sees you pull it back
God.
after the guy pull it.
Okay, now you're just adding moral weight just to make me look bad. Okay, maybe I'm saving the kids, huh? How about that?
It's true. It's true.
The
kid's mother's watching you pull the lever back to save her kid, and kill the other 5. Okay. Yeah.
Have you?
Then what about
Yeah.
would you? Okay. Let's say there is somebody who killed someone, like a murderer, right?
Yeah.
And there's another person that was put into an experience machine, and in the experience machine, they made the exact same decisions as the murderer. So they killed someone as well, but it wasn't real. They just killed them in the simulation.
Okay.
Would you say you regard them both as equally deranged?
This is. Wait, you put them in an experience machine, and in theory, we give them the controls to the experience machine?
Well, they just put into the same experience as the murderer,
Yeah.
as the guy who actually killed.
Okay. I mean, this is definitely a question of the whole free will argument, where it gets kind of dicey with the whole, like, every single thing you've done up until this point is entirely controlled by the set of circumstances that you happen to be born into. And so are you asking if I think those people are equally morally inept? Sorry, not inept.
Wrong.
Wrong. Reprehensible.
Yeah.
I am a free will enjoyer, so I'm going to say no. I think forcing someone through that experience is wrong, and is not on them, but I think the killer who did the killing is bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. What about if you had not the exact same experience, but let's say somebody was under the guise that they were like poisoning someone, but they were actually just putting like medicine into their cup.
Okay.
Would you say they're a moral person for putting medicine into like a sick person's cup?
When they think it's poison,
Yeah.
I would not say that.
Okay. Well, would you say they're the same level of evil as somebody who actually put the poison into the cup and killed the guy?
I guess so.
I mean, I'd agree.
Yeah.
It's not entirely a free will question. It's actually much more so a moral intentions question.
Yeah,
You know?
right.
Whether the consequences of our actions have any sort of weight towards the moral standing behind
Yeah.
our actions.
And I don't think they should.
No, I agree. I think it's entirely intentional because that's the only thing you have control over.
Yeah. I don't understand how this connects to the murderer simulation machine.
Well, because in one case where they actually killed a guy,
Yeah.
that's the consequences.
Oh,
there
I
is a
misunderstood.
consequence.
Sorry, I misunderstood. For some reason, I thought you put them into a simulation of the other guy killing someone. So I thought they just had to do the things that the killer did for whatever reason. I didn't realize you had this person in a simulation machine, and you were like, "Hey, man, do whatever you want. And then he goes and kills someone. And then yeah, this person turns out to be a fake. Sorry, I misunderstood. Okay, I understand. Yeah, I do agree. I think the intention is the thing that matters in both scenarios.
But is that the only thing that matters? Would you rank them entirely equal?
I mean,
somebody who killed a guy and some like in cold blood, and somebody who killed a guy in cold blood in a simulation.
That is a weird question because, as far as like case, is it true that in law, when somebody kills someone, attempts murder, like attempted murder, you don't go away for as long as the actual murder? Is that true? This I'm just guessing.
Almost, I'm pretty sure that's true. I'm almost certain that's true. Yeah.
And if so, that is kind of is the difference. I see two places for the difference to come from. One is the obvious, which is the outcome of the scenario, but then the other could be the plausible deniability of the attempted murder, of the failed murder, that says, hey, look, I wasn't really going to go through, like, there was something in the plan that was always going to go wrong, or I could have changed my mind at the last second, or I didn't really want it deep down, or I let him... Anyway, at ETC, there are in my mind, there are those two potential differences between attempted murder and actual murder. I wonder if... Yeah, because I think a lot of attempted crimes aren't tried nearly as harshly as the actual crimes, which is...
Well, mostly for something really, really bad, like a murder, yeah.
Yeah.
But, attempted murder is like half the...
Yeah, wow.
Half as bad, at least if you're looking at just the numbers.
Yeah. So Matrix Man versus Real Man. Real murderer versus Matrix murderer.
Yeah.
Morally, in theory, the weight should be equal, but...
Well, I think moral is not equivalent to how much, like, punishment they deserve per their actions, you know?
Okay.
Because the justice system isn't entirely built based upon morality.
True. That's true. Okay, yeah, because you are... Some of the punishment is in... No, you are right. There are more variables that go into the difference of that sentencing. That being the desired retribution of the other party, I suppose. Is retribution the word?
I'd say it's not really about like justice, but more so about like preventative measures with lawmaking, you know, and how it impacts the system.
Okay.
But I'm not entirely sure. I don't know much about it.
Yeah, fair enough. I also do not know enough about law to make comments on the origins of it, I suppose.
The big law fan here, though. I like that we have laws.
Yeah, laws, they're fine.
Yeah, I mean, they're a little tied to the state.
Yeah, could go with them, could go without them.
Yeah.
I think it could go either way. Laws should just be...
I'm on the side of no laws, actually. You've convinced me.
No, I reckon laws should
I'm like
be...
a 51 on the no laws.
Suburb to suburb. Should be all
very
local.
True, very true.
All local laws.
Well, I feel like you gotta either have no laws or have laws, because then if there's no laws, then you just have like one big guy from like where there is laws, and he's gonna leave, and he's gonna like...
What?
Well, if there's no laws, there's just one big guy.
There's one big
guy who makes the laws. Yeah, one big guy.
Oh, as in the guy with the biggest... The guy with the...
Just the biggest guy.
The biggest guy. Yeah, true. No, but the thing with no laws is... Sure, there'll be one big guy, but it only takes two medium guys to, like, take him down. You know what I mean?
That's what you think.
What?
2 medium guys have no chance on one big guy.
How about 5 medium guys?
Many philosophers have said this.
100 medium guys.
100. Okay, 100 medium guys. Depends how big the guy is.
Yeah, I guess there are some really big ones. Like, have you seen that anime Attack on Titan?
Yeah.
There are some really big guys there.
Colossal Titan. Big fan.
Big fan of a big guy. Okay, maybe this. did you have another one, or did you want to explore this other one?
I mean, not no. That was just like a throwaway.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
I actually have quite a few things here.
Yep.
Okay. What would you say about torturing a guy to save 1 million people? Like if there's like a nuke?
One guy for 1 million?
Yeah, but you're torturing him.
Bro, I'd say yes. What about sending this guy to a literal hell if he's tortured for infinity?
There's no chance. 1 million people are dying. Because there's like infinity's just so bad.
Yeah,
that's like insanely bad.
Yeah, that'd be pretty rough. How many?
Like I understand like 100 years of torture. Like okay, it's like okay.
Then he dies.
But infinity.
Infinity just beats anything.
What about
right?
What about infinity? Just having like a guy just there, and being like pricked by like a tiny toothpick for infinity.
I guess it's
would
almost.
Would you subject someone to that?
It's almost a question of what do you think of existence on the infinite scale to be like? Because there's definitely an argument to say that any existence ad infinitum would be horrific.
Okay, let's say like your mind gets reset every like 200 years.
Oh, what? That's fine.
That's fine?
Bro.
You can be like pricked by a needle though?
How often?
Forever? That's his entire life. And it's like every 5 seconds.
He could still live his life, right?
He's in limbo, by the way. There's like nothing else. He's just being pricked by a toothpick. It's not like a goddamn...
Oh, that's...
It's not like a suburbia there.
Yeah. Actually, no, you're probably right. Whether you wipe this guy's memory or not, it's still an infinite... It's either an infinite guy or an infinite amount of guys who are experiencing this forever.
That's true.
Which is...
that's true.
You know, neither here nor there. Is it worse or better if it's one guy or infinite guys? I guess, once again, infinity...
I think infinite guys is like, that's fine.
I was going to say the other way.
What?
Because at least...
One guy?
At least with the infinite guys, they die. At the end of their 200 years, it's like...
Oh, no, I agree. I think, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, we're on the same...
Yeah. I think the one guy would be so much worse. Because imagine being that one guy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
interesting.
Okay.
Would you torture somebody for 1 million people? I mean, I'd say yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think it's pretty fair. I think it's going to be a very similar answer to would you kill one person for 1 million people? And when you say torture, do you mean like until they die?
What about torture a guy for like 1,000 people?
Yeah, like for 1,000 to live instead of just dying?
Yeah.
That's a harder question. Once again, I think it's the context. Like the same difference between the trolley problem context versus the Bangladesh hospital.
To death. Bangladesh hospital.
Because I heard the example where the guy walks in and it's like you have a because they tried making the example realistic where you have a hospital that doesn't have organ transplants at hand, and there are 5 people that need all his perfect organs, and they're all emerged. Anyway, I forgot exactly, but torture him to death. Yeah, I think we could get wrapped up into specifics of weighing this forward and back, but I think it sort of boils down to just how many morality points leaning in each direction, right? So I think it's sort of the rich problem that you were talking about earlier, to a certain extent.
Really? How is it similar?
Sorry, are you rich at $1 million? What about 99999?
Oh, yeah.
That one.
That's true. Okay. What about okay. This is a little bit of a different kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But would you kill 95% of all people to keep the human race from ending in like 1,000,000 years? Otherwise, we are slated to die.
We are slated to die in 1,000,000.
Yeah.
But if we kill the 95, then we're guaranteed
95%.
to live.
Yeah.
95%.
Yeah.
Interesting. So we're either slated to die within 1,000,000, or we're slated to at least live 1,000,000.
Yeah.
Is it just random?
Sure, let's say it's random.
And I'm included in the 95% chance to die?
Oh, no, let's say you're not.
You're not. Okay.
Let's say you kill 95%, all of them random people, but not somebody related to you.
None that you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that changes it for sure.
In fact, all of these people you would have never met.
Wow. Interesting.
Unless you think you'll meet 6% of all people.
Yeah. Probably not the case.
Yeah. But that one TikToker, right?
Who?
It was like a guy who has like 1 billion views on one of his videos or something.
God
Like
damn.
he's 1/7 of all people.
He has...
Watched it, 1/8.
Look, there might have been some rewatches. And was it unique views?
I'm not sure.
Probably not, right?
But he has like 170 million followers or something.
The thing is, I don't think he's met very many of those views.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's a difficult question. I don't think I would. Because my thinking is like, humans are going to die eventually. What's the difference between within 1,000,000 years from now or post 1,000,000 years from now? Like, sure, we'll try and we'll do our best for as long as we can, but it's going to happen one day or another. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's true.
And if I were to guess right now, I do not think that humans are going to live 1,000,000 years from now. We've been around what? I don't remember numbers. We've been
what would you consider the human race?
post when we started throwing some wheat seeds in the ground and tilling that.
What? When we discovered agriculture?
Yeah, how long
That's
is
so much later than you would even consider
Yeah,
Homo sapien.
No, I know, but that's how long has the agricultural revolution been a thing for? I want to say like 50,000 years. Anyway, I could, that could be a very wrong number. Don't look that up.
I think it's 50,000.
Viewer, don't look that up. Okay. Would you press the button? Sorry, would you kill the 95?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
I mean, if you think about it, you're killing a lot more if you're not pressing the button.
Oh, wow, Max. We delving into a abortion territory here.
What?
Into these people that don't exist yet.
That's true. But I think there's a specific cost to ending all human life at a certain point, right?
But
Surely that has to have some sort of value.
all human life will end at one certain point.
No, I don't think so. I think we'll overcome entropy.
Yeah, based. I believe.
Problem?
Yeah, well, would your mind be changed if it included people that you knew in the 95? Probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, surely.
If it was just random,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm killing. Yeah, I would certainly not.
95% of all people you know.
That's a 95% chance to kill. Like, let's say it doesn't include myself. Even then, it's like 95% chance to kill my entire family. Well, not my entire family.
Yeah.
Kill each individual one.
Yeah, each individual. And like in your
I
immediate,
would not roll a d20 for like a nat 20.
Yeah.
Like a.
dude, the chances of you
Not good
not
odds.
killing any of just the 3 people in your family is 1.2. Oh, right. No, that is pretty close to a D.
1 in 8,000.
1 in 8,000. That's doable.
Yeah.
That's doable.
Yeah, doable.
Yeah. That's it.
True.
That's it.
It's
That's
true,
that's
that's
a nat 20. Is that a nat 20? What, 3 times in a row? Because a nat 20 is one. Is a 50%. Is a 5% on the 20. So it literally is literally a nat 20 to survive.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah, no, I understand that. But yeah, I guess I'm just not super optimistic about how long humans are going to survive for. And I don't think it's going to be a million years.
Such hate attack.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, let's say it's 100 years.
100 years? Whoa. Yeah.
Which means that everybody on Earth right now will not die.
Yeah.
Like, let's say
150. 150.
150.
So
it's like
guaranteed everyone gets a full life from right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, I think this is moral points, and I think that tips it over to me saying.
But that's the way. So you place value on somebody who hasn't been born yet, then.
That is true. That is true. I guess I put some value in a person that hasn't been born yet. And I think that's the case with abortion as well. I think most people would put some amount of value on this future human race.
Yeah, personally, I think I like to think that I have some sort of value on the survival of the human race, like the existence.
Yeah. Humans,
rather than just
humans aside, individual humans aside.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think it's 150 years, almost certainly. Yeah, you'd have to. Oh well, actually, I don't know if I'd kill if it would be my family, but otherwise,
Yeah, I mean that.
Let's say there isn't like insane negative impacts from losing 95%.
Yeah. Let's assume that the world keeps functioning.
It just gets downscaled.
Just downscaled massively.
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah. Why not?
Wow.
No, but I think I don't know. I think it would kind of. I mean, kind of lame if it all kind of ended in 150 years.
Yeah, I hazard an agreement on that one. Yeah. Fair enough. Did you have another one?
But hypothetically, if you pressed a button, would you like? Is there literally no moral value to pressing a button to have everybody become sterile, to not have any more children? I feel like that would be like a negative. And let's say everybody loses the drive to have children, like they wouldn't want children anyway.
Wait, what do you mean?
So that's like you're not really killing anybody, right? You're just
stopping
any more humans from being born.
So no more humans even care about the idea of humans carrying on.
Yeah. No, let's say not that. I think maybe individually they just don't want children.
Really?
Yeah.
How would this hypothetical human conceptualize wanting the human race to carry on and
Well, it's not like they would want to kill everyone else, you know, or like have them die. Well, I mean, I guess no, but they would want their fellow people to live. They just wouldn't really care. I guess, yeah, they wouldn't really care about the human race continuing in a way.
So you're asking, where did this hypothetical come from? Where?
But does this button have any moral weighting at all? Because you're not killing anybody.
You're just, yeah, I see what you mean.
Because the one problem is, like, let's say people do want to have children, then it's kind of wrong to like forcibly sterilize them.
Yeah. But in this scenario, you just change their mind, and you change every single person's mind about. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like it might be fine. That's it. I hazard that. I haven't thought about it a whole lot, but what? Because if you press this button, arguably the world would be better off in, you know, after everyone's gone. And
okay, I don't know about that.
No, okay. But
what would be better about the world?
Yeah, I guess just like ecosystems, environmentally, it would be better off.
Yeah, I guess.
But regarding the moral weight to pressing it, even ecology aside, I think it might be okay to let someone press the button. But then I guess they're making a decision for... It's weird, I guess, because we're creating a scenario where the human race is euthanized, but in the most humane way possible.
Yeah, I guess.
In one where no one has regrets about it, where no one has... But is the existence of these past people's desires enough to overcome the moral weight of that button? I'm not sure. What are your thoughts on it? I don't even know if I made sense there.
I have innate value to the continuation of the human race.
I see what you mean.
So I would say no.
Okay.
It's not okay.
I guess, why are they pressing this button? Was this in the scenario of the 95 people dying?
Well, I said, is there any moral value to pressing the button? Like, is it wrong to press the button?
Right, this is just separate. Because of the continuation of the human race. I see that. Do you think there's also an argument to be said that... I mean, it's kind of... The whole mind control part of it is kind of immoral in of itself.
Yeah, but that's the only problem is that people would want children. That's not the problem.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's really what I'm just trying to address. Let's say that you're not forcibly instilling this in everyone.
Yeah, but you sort of are by pressing the button, right? Like, everyone just wakes up one day and says that...
No, but let's say nobody has any feelings towards it in the first place.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like, this was just the case.
Oh, as in this has always been the case, kind of thing. Like, this is the only existence.
Nobody really cares.
Like.
Well, people have grown accustomed to like not caring about it. That's
Yeah.
just what the culture has become.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
that's not really the question I'm trying to answer here.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. I think I agree. I think I agree in the sense that there is moral weight in the human race continuing. Because I personally think that despite the bad shit that humans have done, I think the good shit, the cooler parts of it, make it worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of the things that we've done can only really morally be judged by us. So kind of hard to say that we did them.
Yeah, that is true. It is kind of weird because moral judgments don't really exist in outside of our own minds.
Yeah. Unless there's some aliens and they were like perfect.
Yeah. Alien morals. Yeah. Maybe we'll save that for next episode.
Real.
Um. Okay. Did you have another couple?
You said you had one hypothetical,
I
right?
do have one, but it's. I'll run it by you, and we can decide to touch on it now or at another time. I say it now because it's topical. There is these drugs that are being developed by, I forgot the company's names, but the company that their stocks are insane, exploding because they're doing so well. Ozempic is FDA approved for the treatment of
Oh, weight
diabetes.
loss?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
not technically weight loss medication, but it has a sister medication, Wegovy, Google says, which is specifically approved for the treatment of weight. And so these drugs, all they do is they change your appetite and what you're urged to do, right?
Hmm.
Do you think there's? Do you think that there's? I mean, because there's obviously character building potential in losing weight and getting fitter, that aren't tied to a drug,
Yeah.
and there are, but at the same time, when there's a drug that can reduce the amount of heart attacks, reduce the amount of strokes, and insert all weight related diseases and ailments above.
Yeah.
It seems like a no brainer for the larger populace. Firstly, just what are your thoughts on this drug?
Um. Yeah. I mean, if it just makes you healthier, like, yeah, it's a good thing, right?
Yeah. What about like a drug that just makes you ripped, like makes you stronger? It simulates.
If it was entirely healthy, why not?
If it was entirely healthy, what if you had these like a whole array of drugs, just like targeting every part of your life that you wanted to improve, like your relationships, your your study habits, your drinking habits, like all of these things. What if you just had an arsenal of pills to build you up as a human being?
It's hard to say that um what like a relationship pill would do, or like a friendship pill.
It
I
like
think
makes you.
I
Okay, yeah,
I
carry
think
on.
it's fundamentally different what you would do, like a pill that changes your judgment towards perhaps social interactions, moral interactions, how you interact with that, versus just like what changes your innate desire in terms of appetite. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
think appetite isn't directly tied to your personality,
Yeah, true.
whereas something like your emotions are.
Okay, I see that. I do. That is fair enough. Are there scenarios where? What are your thoughts on ADHD medication? If they were to make them relatively side effect free, would it be sort of just like a no
Really
brainer?
side effect. Um, I don't know. Hard to say. Hard to say. I think it would be difficult to judge like a medication that alters dopamine,
Mm-hmm.
because in a way, you know, that's like the what's it called, the molecule of desire.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not exactly sure how it would affect exactly what you would want to do. Like, let's say it completely alters your life in terms of what you want to do for a career or what you want to spend your time on. Did that fundamentally change who you are? Like, let's say somebody who would do music instead becomes like an accountant, you know? Like, does that mean that fundamentally music wasn't an important thing to you?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not sure. It's. I mean, I guess it brings up the question of what is the self, which is sort of a bit of a difficult one to answer, and how much weight we give to these hypothetical drugs in sorry, excuse me, who we are. And in this musician turned accountant role, is it the fact that they can focus more, or something?
No, they just maybe the fact that they can focus more makes them enjoy accounting way more.
Yeah, right. And then, sorry, what was your question?
Well, does that mean the music wasn't fundamental to you? That wasn't important to you? If, for example, introducing ADHD medication, like let's say when they were 20 or something, then fundamentally changed their path through life, to not have any music in it.
I guess it's just difficult. It wasn't. I think it can change. I don't think it was never important to them. And I think after they take this drug, maybe even just only while they're on this drug, music's less important to them. And then while they're off it, music is more important. Maybe that's a bit weird.
Or maybe they don't go on to make their entire life around music, and then it's just not particularly important to them.
Yeah, I mean, it could have just been a catalyst for change, and a catalyst can work in. I mean, this catalyst could work in either way when they get on the drug or off the drug, right? They could return to the original music thing or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure.
I guess in a way, fair enough. I think you'd probably need to know the science behind dopamine better.
That's true.
Or whatever, however it affects you.
That's true.
Yeah, I think that's enough hypotheticals.
I think that probably is. Yeah, well, that was a cracker of an episode. I very much enjoyed that.
Yeah, a crazy philosophical bite, perhaps.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Apologize for if I sounded a little groggy, just recovering from COVID right now. But regardless, hope you enjoyed listening in. Next week, we shall be covering our monthly book, Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, which I'm very excited for. And we'll announce the book of the following month. Yeah, well, that will be...
I'm even more excited for that. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah, for the...
What kind of crazy book has Max Lorenz been keeping for us?
I'm very, very intrigued. Very, very, very intrigued to hear. Anyways, we'll see you next week for that. Ari signing out.
The Bad Hair Podcast out.